The debate regarding the most popular and most watched sport in the world has been a long-going one, as everyone supports their most loved sport. This is the dilemma that sports journalists and personalities are trying to find a solution for. A number of lists have been created by several persons, but their ideas contradict to some extent, and a mutual consent seems almost impossible. Here's a list of top 7 most popular sports in the world based on several factors like the global following, TV viewers, the stability of the system of sport, the revenue it generates, endorsements and advertisements, social media presence, etc. Baseball is a bat and ball game played between two teams of 9 players each, who take turns batting and fielding. The batting team attempts to score runs by hitting a ball that is thrown by the pitcher with a bat swung by the batter, then running counterclockwise around a series of 4 bases, first, second, third, and home plate. A run is scored when a player advances around the bases and returns to home plate. Players on the batting team take turns hitting against the pitcher of the fielding team, which tries to prevent runs by getting hitters out in any of several ways. A player on the batting team who reaches a base safely can later attempt to advance to subsequent bases during teammates' turns batting, such as on a hit or by other means. The teams switch between batting and fielding whenever the fielding team records 3 outs. One turn batting for both teams, beginning with the visiting team, constitutes an inning. A game is composed of 9 innings, and the team with the greater number of runs at the end of the game wins. Baseball has no game clock, although almost all games end in the 9th inning. Baseball evolved from older bat and ball games already being played in England by the mid-18th century. This game was brought by immigrants to North America, where the modern version developed. By the late 19th century, baseball was widely recognized as the national sport of the United States. Baseball is now popular in North America and parts of Central and South America, the Caribbean, and East Asia. In the United States and Canada, professional Major League Baseball (MLB) teams are divided into the National League (NL) and American League (AL), each with 3 divisions: East, West, and Central. The Major League champion is determined by playoffs that culminate in the World Series. The top level of play is similarly split in Japan between the Central and Pacific Leagues, and in Cuba between the West League and East League. A majority of the people around the world might not have held the baseball bat in their entire life, but in the countries like Japan and USA, baseball is enjoyed even on the street level. People of those regions are passionate about this sport, and many opt to pursue a career in baseball since childhood. Both Japan and the USA have the biggest leagues in the world, naming Nippon League and MLB respectively. Is similarly split in Japan between the Central and Pacific Leagues, and in Cuba between the West League and East League. A majority of the people around the world might not have held the baseball bat in their entire life, but in the countries like Japan and USA, baseball is enjoyed even on the street level. People of those regions are passionate about this sport, and many opt to pursue a career in baseball since childhood. Both Japan and the USA have the biggest leagues in the world, naming Nippon League and MLB respectively. American football, referred to as football in the United States and Canada, and also known as gridiron, is a sport played by 2 teams of 11 players on a rectangular field with goalposts at each end. The offense, the team when control of the oval-shaped football, attempts to advance down the field by running with or passing the ball, while the team without control of the ball, the defense, aims to stop their advance and take control of the ball for themselves. The offense must advance at least 10 yards in 4 downs, or plays, or else they turn over the football to the opposing team. If they succeed, they are given a new set of 4 downs. Points are primarily scored by advancing the ball into the opposing team's end zone for a touchdown or kicking the ball through the opponent's goal posts for a field goal. The team with the most points at the end of a game wins. American football evolved in the United States, originating from the sports of association football and rugby football. The first game of American football was played on November 6, 1869, between two college teams, Rutgers and Princeton, under rules based on the association football rules of the time. During the latter half of the 1870s, colleges playing association football switched to the rugby union code, which allowed carrying the ball. A set of rule changes drawn up from 1880 onward by Walter Camp, the father of American football, established the snap, 11-player teams, and the concept of downs. Later rule changes legalized the forward pass, created the neutral zone, and specified the size and shape of the football. American football as a whole is the most popular sport in the United States. Professional football and college football are the most popular forms of the game, with the other major levels being high school and youth football. As of 2012, nearly 1.1 million high school athletes and 70,000 college athletes play the sport in the United States annually, with a fan following of 400 million. American football ties with basketball in terms of popularity. The games basketball and American football have their origin from the USA and are very much common in the region than in any other continent. The National Football League, the most popular American football league, has the highest average attendance of any sports league in the world. Its championship game, the Super Bowl, ranks among the most watched club sporting events in the world, and the league has an annual revenue of around $10 billion. Golf is a club and ball sport in which players use various clubs to hit balls into a series of holes on a course in as few strokes as possible. Golf, unlike most ball games, does not require a standardized playing area. The game is played on a course with an arranged progression of either 9 or 18 holes. Each hole on the course must contain a tee box to start from, and a putting green containing the actual holder cup 4.25 inches in width. There are other standard forms of terrain in between, such as the fairway, rough long grass, sand traps, and hazards, water, rocks, fescue, but each hole on a course is unique in its specific layout and arrangement. Golf is played for the lowest number of strokes by an individual, known as stroke play, or the lowest score on the most individual holes in a complete round by an individual or team, known as match play. Stroke play is the most commonly seen format at all levels. Golf is considered a game for the riches, and no surprises that it has the largest professional prospect in the developed countries like Japan, USA, United Kingdom, South Africa and Korea. Although golf is the 8th most popular sports in the world, but it has the most revenue generation and big prize money to the players. A player with the abilities like that of Tiger Woods could easily become the richest athlete on the planet. Golf has a following of 450 million fans around the globe. Basketball is a sport that is played by two teams of 5 players on a rectangular court. The objective is to shoot a ball through a hoop 18 inches (46 centimeters) in diameter and mounted at a height of 10 feet (3.048 meters) to backboards at each end of the court. The game was invented in 1891 by Dr. James Naismith, who would be the first basketball coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, one of the most successful programs in the game's history. A team can score a field goal by shooting the ball through the basket being defended by the opposition team during regular play. A field goal scores 3 points for the shooting team if the player shoots from behind the three-point line, and 2 points if shot from in front of the line. A team can also score via free throws, which are worth 1 point, after the other team is assessed with certain fouls. The team with the most points at the end of the game wins. But additional time, overtime, is issued when the score is tied at the end of regulation. The ball can be advanced on the court by throwing it to a teammate, or by bouncing it while walking or running, dribbling. It is a violation to lift, or drag, one's pivot foot without dribbling the ball, to carry it, or to hold the ball with both hands then resume dribbling. There are many techniques for ball handling: shooting, passing, dribbling, and rebounding. Basketball teams generally have player positions. The tallest and strongest members of a team are called a center or power forward, while slightly shorter and more agile players are called small forward. And the shortest players, or those who possess the best ball handling skills, are called a point guard or shooting guard. The point guard directs the on-court action of the team, implementing the coach's game plan, and managing the execution of offensive and defensive plays. Player positioning. Basketball is one of the world's most popular and widely viewed sports. 1. The National Basketball Association (NBA) is the most popular and widely considered to be the highest level of professional basketball in the world, and NBA players are the world's best paid athletes by average annual salary per player. 2. 3. Outside North America. The top clubs from national leagues qualify to continental championships such as the EuroLeague and FIBA Americas League. The FIBA Basketball World Cup attracts the top national teams from around the world. Each continent hosts regional competitions for national teams, like Eurobasket and FIBA Americas Championship. The FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup features the top national women's basketball teams from continental championships. The main North American league is the WNBA, whereas the EuroLeague Women has been dominated by teams from the Russian Women's Basketball Premier League. Volleyball is a team sport in which two teams of 6 players are separated by a net. Each team tries to score points by grounding a ball on the other team's court under organized rules. 1. It has been a part of the official program of the Summer Olympic Games since 1964. The complete rules are extensive, but simply, play proceeds as follows. A player on one of the teams begins a rally by serving the ball, tossing or releasing it, and then hitting it with a hand or arm from behind the back boundary line of the court, over the net, and into the receiving team's court. The receiving team must not let the ball be grounded within their court. The team may touch the ball up to 3 times, but individual players may not touch the ball twice consecutively. Typically, the first 2 touches are used to set up for an attack. An attempt to direct the ball back over the net in such a way that the serving team is unable to prevent it from being grounded in their court. The rally continues, with each team allowed as many as 3 consecutive touches, until either 1. A team makes a kill, grounding the ball on the opponent's court and winning the rally, or 2. A team commits a fault and loses the rally. The team that wins the rally is awarded a point, and serves the ball to start the next rally. A few of the most common faults include causing the ball to touch the ground or floor outside the opponent's court or without first passing over the net, catching and throwing the ball, double hit, 2 consecutive contacts with the ball made by the same player, 4 consecutive contacts with the ball made by the same team, net full, touching the net during play, foot fault. The foot crosses over the boundary line when serving. The ball is usually played with the hands or arms, but players can legally strike or push short contact the ball with any part of the body. A number of consistent techniques have evolved in volleyball, including spiking and blocking, because these plays are made above the top of the net. The vertical jump is an athletic skill emphasized in the sport, as well as passing, setting, and specialized player positions and defensive structures. Tennis is a racket sport that can be played individually against a single opponent, singles, or between 2 teams of 2 players each, doubles. Each player uses a tennis racket that is strung with cord to strike a hollow rubber ball covered with felt over or around a net and into the opponent's court. The object of the game is to play the ball in such a way that the opponent is not able to play a valid return. The player who is unable to return the ball will not gain a point, while the opposite player will. Tennis is an Olympic sport and is played at all levels of society and at all ages. The sport can be played by anyone who can hold a racket, including wheelchair users. The modern game of tennis originated in Birmingham, England, in the late 19th century as lawn tennis. 1. It had close connections both to various field lawn games such as croquet and bowls as well as to the older racket sport of real tennis. During most of the 19th century, in fact, the term tennis referred to real tennis, not lawn tennis. For example, in Disraeli's novel Sybil, 1845, Lord Eugene de Vere announces that he will go down to Hampton Court and play tennis. 2. The rules of tennis have changed little since the 1890s. Two exceptions are that, from 1908 to 1961 the server had to keep one foot on the ground at all times, and the adoption of the tiebreak in the 1970s. A recent addition to professional tennis has been the adoption of electronic review technology coupled with a point challenge system, which allows a player to contest the line call of a point, a system known as Hawkeye. Tennis is played by millions of recreational players and is also a popular worldwide spectator sport. The 4 Grand Slam tournaments, also referred to as the majors, are especially popular. The Australian Open played on hard courts, the French Open played on red clay courts, Wimbledon played on grass courts, and the US Open played also on hard courts. Association football, more commonly known as football or soccer, is a team sport played between two teams of 11 players with a spherical ball. It is played by 250 million players in over 200 countries and dependencies, making it the world's most popular sport. The game is played on a rectangular field with a goal at each end. The object of the game is to score by getting the ball into the opposing goal. The goalkeepers are the only players allowed to touch the ball with their hands or arms while it is in play and only in their penalty area. Other players mainly use their feet to strike or pass the ball, but may also use their head or torso. The team that scores the most goals by the end of the match wins. If the score is level at the end of the game, either a draw is declared or the game goes into extra time or a penalty shootout depending on the format of the competition. The laws of the game were originally codified in England by the Football Association in 1863. Association football is governed internationally by the International Federation of Association Football, FIFA, French, Fédération Internationale de Football Association, which organizes World Cups for both men and women every 4 years. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise that the most popular and watched game on the globe is football or soccer. With a following of almost 4 billion fans from every continent, the sport remains at the top with no other game coming close to it. Europe is the main hub of football where the game is played at the most competitive level. The biggest competition in the club football is the UEFA Champions League, in which Europe's elite clubs compete for the silverware and loads of cash. A total of $1.5 billion is given away in the competition to all the participating teams, which is the highest prize money for a competition in all sports. Moreover, the most watched competition in the history has been the World Cup 2014. Stats show that a total of 770 million viewers tuned into the competition at any instant. In terms of revenue generation and finance, football is the best sport in the business, with the biggest sport kit deals, highest paid athletes like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and some of the richest clubs such as Real Madrid. The 31-year-old Portuguese international and Real Madrid forward Cristiano Ronaldo is currently the richest football player on the planet. He has a net worth of $375 million and he earned a total of $88 million in 2016. He earned $55.4 million from Real Madrid through salary and bonuses for winning trophies. Moreover, his endorsement deals with several brands, including Nike, earned him loads. He also owns a hotel in Portugal and his personal clothing line with the name of County Route 7 Lifestyle.